So everyone, thank you so much for joining us this Thursday morning. Um, I'm joining you from a very, we have a very bright, sunny day in Pune. My name is Amol Khare. I'm an AVP with Amrut Software. I've been in the industry for about 15 years, and I'm very keen to share my experiences and overall what DevSecOps or DevOps means right now. This is a co-hosted webinar with Indusface. I will introduce Venki later in the session. Um, so again, I see a few more joining. So whoever has joined, any questions, please post them in the Q&A section, and we will definitely take them up at the end of the session. If you have any problem connecting, if there is any voice issues, please post that as well so that we can take corrective actions. So a rough agenda for this session is embracing DevSecOps, then the availability and the cost of digital transformation. We have everyone talking about digital transformation nowadays, and we'd like to highlight how we can help you with that. How we can bring in our expertise and how we can really help you with your journey. Because on the face value, digital transformation sounds complicated and simple at the same time. But when you actually dig deep, that is when the real fun begins. That's the session going to be all about. And then it's the missing piece. So missing piece is something that you will figure out by the end of the session, of my session. So just to begin with, everyone knows the traditional DevOps loop. So what is it all about? It's an abbreviation of development and operations. Earlier in the days, of course, we used to have silos. We used to have different teams working in different capacities with their own processes, with their own plans. And nowadays, that it just doesn't work that way. We have to collaborate. Teams have to be working together. Teams have to be working with each other. They need to have synchronization in the way they are working, and that really helps organizations grow. Is the need of the hour is how efficiently you are working as a team and breaking the silos and coming together towards the common goal. So DevOps is a philosophy that helps you do that. It's when you begin the planning, you code, you build, then you test, you release, deploy, operate, and monitor. And it happens in an infinite loop. It keeps on going. It keeps on continuous development, continuous integrations, real-time feedback from the customers. Because at the end of the day, customers are the main focal point of whatever we are doing. We as businesses, we are entirely focused on I would rather say that the primary goal of any business is to make money at the end of the day. And if your customers are not really buying your bait, then it's not going to work out. And all of these processes are intended to eventually help the customer see your product as the most efficient one, most secure one, most stable one, trusted one. I'm sure everybody is aware of the DevOps cycle when it comes to the planning, integration. So I'm not going to spend much time on this slide. But again, trying to focus on what a particular process means, or what a typical synchronization between the dev and the ops team would look like. Now, talking about DevOps, why is it important, and who is really getting it right? Because from a transformation point of view, everybody knows these two companies, Amazon and Netflix. When I say who got it right, earlier when Amazon started their data services, or their, let's say, e-commerce services, they were pretty much focused on a data center approach where the capacity planning really went out of hands when it came to, let's say, the Black Friday sales, or when they had to scale up, scale down, depending on the demand and the traffic that was expected. Earlier in the days, it was not possible for them to to really have an interactive or a scalable capacity plan. Now, since they have embraced DevOps, they have really changed the game. And both of these brands are something that we use day in and day out. I'm sure nobody on the session right now is not aware of these two companies. So when it comes to let's say a deployment or release of software or getting the products updated, Amazon actually deploys or has one deployment every 11.7 seconds. Now that's something that was unheard of till about 5 to 6 years ago, because that is when we had not really embraced the DevOps lifecycle, the DevOps process philosophy. And that is when we were doing things traditionally. What has really changed for the business? We have all seen how Amazon has grown. We have all seen how Netflix has grown, for that matter. Netflix used to be a DVD rental platform, and now they are one of the largest online streaming OTT platforms on the planet. And they operate out of 3 regions. They operate out of 3 global regions. They have really great user experience when it comes to that. I'm sure everybody is fond of Netflix. Everybody watches something or the other on Netflix every week. Now, Netflix does about, I would say, thousands of deployments in a day. Now, how is that helping them? How is that really possible? Now, that is possible because Netflix embraced DevOps a long time back. And they realized that in order to match the pace, in order to really bring something extraordinary to the table or something outrageous, they have to make their development and operations team work together. And that was the only way out. And they did that. And now you can see the results in front of you. Now, what are the common grounds between Amazon, Netflix, and let's say our businesses, everybody who's on the panel today or on the attendees today? The common grounds are very simple. From a customer's perspective, we will only put money where we find the services as reliable, they are available, they're trusted, and they're scalable. So when I say reliable, I want my provider to be, or my services or my product provider to be a reliable company, and I want their services to be available. Now, a great example of this would be a recent, I'll refer to the bank segment, recent unavailability of services for a particular national, let's say private bank, but a pretty big bank in India, to the RBI asking them not to issue credit cards. Now, this was the first time that something like that has happened, and it's completely unheard of, because I've been a customer for nationalized bank, and I lost some money from my account, and it actually came back after 6 months. Now, in today's time, that is not acceptable. If something goes down, we've heard, let's say IRCTC, for that matter, the railway ticket booking. They were notoriously famous for not being available most of the times, and there were jokes about it. There were memes about it. Now they've really upped their game, and now I have not heard a single downtime about them in a recent time. So you need to have your services available. Nowadays, if you are a bank, if you are, let's say, an e-commerce company, if you are anything that is providing a service or a product online, you need to understand that your customers are the same customers who have been spoiled by companies like Netflix and Amazon, and let's say the DBS banks of the world, who are extremely available, reliable, and there when it comes to the security angle. And they are also trusted brands. Like we don't think twice before buying from Amazon nowadays. We might think twice before buying from a local shop. That's what the paradigm shift has been. And what has really triggered this is that the companies have really embraced a change. The companies have really embraced a process where it allows them to efficiently work towards whatever they are trying to achieve. Now, what are the customer expectations nowadays? As I said, the customers expect similar user experience from whatever they're using. Like, for example, we are in the 4G era right now, with 5G right at our doorstep. Now, today, if somebody offers a 3G plan, that nobody's going to buy it. Or if your broadband provider comes today and says that if I'm going to give you a 4 Mbps connectivity, nobody's going to buy it, because people are used to the fast connectivity. People are used to having more than 100 Mbps speeds at this time, even some Gbps at times. So this transition is real, and people are relating it cross border now. So there are expectations that if a particular service is able to provide it in the market right now, why are you not able to do it? And this is a question which is usually asked to the legacy businesses, that okay, somebody some business that started about 3 years ago is much better when it comes to the service. You being a 20-year-old company, why are you not able to figure it out? And that is where the transformation is really propelling the customer expectations. Now, another aspect is that customers expect uh, a decent level of security, because as the digital adaptation goes up, as we are moving towards digital currencies, there are multiple payment options available. At least 10 wallets available every alternate week. There's some new startup coming up in the payments industry. There is a baseline, there is a basic security expectation that customers have. Now, we also need to understand that when it comes to security, it's extremely dangerous. You have to be at the top of your game, because even a minor incident can really dent a brand. And we've seen that happening. We've seen big banks really taking the fall because of a minor incident. And that was probably because somebody was not paying attention, or maybe they should have invested in a product or a service that was available for over years, but they just did not do it because they thought that we are invincible at times. And that happens usually. So that's really important right now, that you need to really be at the top of your game when it comes to delivering and upgrading your products, and also securing it at the same time. Because whenever there is a customer transaction involved, there is money involved, something goes wrong, it can really go south. And in as I would say, in the age of memes, do you really want to risk it? Because something goes wrong and then you are the next viral meme, and it just brings you down. So continuous improvement to the product and service offering is also one of the customer expectations right now. Customers don't want to sit on the legacy products. They always want more and more updates. And by embracing a philosophy like DevOps, DevSecOps, that is what is going to happen. I usually give this example in all of my talks, that I remember the times when we used to get service pack updates for our softwares. And they used to be, 8 months apart, 10 months apart, sometimes even years apart. And nowadays, that's not the situation. Nowadays, you get updates on the fly, and probably your WhatsApp gets updated thrice a month. Your Facebook gets updated five times a month. So that is really what is happening. A new feature comes in, you don't have to wait for 18 months life cycle to actually bring it to the market. Somebody who's got a DevOps philosophy figured out in their organization is going to be able to bring the change much faster to the market than somebody who hasn't. So that's where it is really boiling down to. Now, talking a lot about DevOps and DevSecOps, Amrut Software in particular has been into the DevOps consulting space for a very long time. We are a 15-year-old company. We breathe DevOps consulting and services day in, day out. And from, let's say, a design to operation support, we offer a 360-degree DevOps consulting, implementation, and transformation consulting. That also involves a lot of positive ROI on your efforts or your money spent. We do offer support services for all our products and all our implementations when it comes to that. Now, how do we do it? It's pretty simple. We figured out who are the best in the market, and we've partnered with them. We have a great team that really understands how these partnerships can be used to make the most of it. And bringing an amalgamation, a collaborative effort of the best in the segment or best in the market, we can really help you with your DevOps journey, with your transformation, with your success stories. Now, that brings me to the missing piece. And all this while Amrut has been really strong into the DevOps space, we have close to 1,400 plus active customers around the globe. We operate in 4 continents as of now. And we always had a missing piece where the security component was kind of a challenge. And now that I'm very glad to say that that missing piece has been found, and that is Indusface. Indusface has a very strong portfolio when it comes to security and allied services. And we always had this conversation, even with our legacy customers, even with our tenured customers, that, okay, we are looking for a particular security product or a service. And that's when we used to, really go out in the market and look for that and say, okay, what are we looking for? And let's identify 2 vendors and let's try and fix something up. But going forward, we have partnered with Indusface, and they really put the sec into our DevOps journey. So now we can confidently say that we are a DevSecOps consulting company. So I'm going to hand over to Venkatesh Sundar, fondly known as Venki. He's the CMO and a co-founder of Indusface, and he's going to tell us a lot about what Indusface does and how really they can be a game changer. So over to you, Venki.
Thank you, Amol. You had to make me the host for me.
Yeah, I'm just making that right now.
And thanks for this wonderful presentation. I think that Mobius strip, which is the never-ending journey, was certainly very insightful. I call it a treadmill. I mean, I have to keep running, or one of the cliches of business is security or any of this. It's never an end point. It's always a journey, and it has to be continuous process, continuous improvement. And DevOps and DevSecOps now is no different. And thanks for this presentation, and I'm going to spend some time talk about how the sec part of the DevSecOps can be enabled and how it has to be viewed as one unit organizationally for companies to benefit from it. So let me just quickly get into sharing the screen, and then can I see the screen? Amol, I will lean on you to say that.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So as Amol said, the sec part of the DevOps, the DevSecOps, is where we come into the picture. I'm just going to spend 2 minutes talking about Indusface and how we address this problem. We were founded with the vision of enabling businesses to go digital fearlessly. In fact, if you look at it, Amrut Software with their DevOps consulting practices enable businesses to go digital. Digitization is here to stay. And the post-COVID era, it has actually been given a rocket fuel, where it is not just nice to have a cool thing, but it is a must-have for the existence of business. And to do it fearlessly, the security is going to be very, very important. Right? Without security, you cannot launch a lot of an insurance company cannot launch a new insurance program through the online channel, or the banking cannot offer new banking services to their customer without security in place. So fearless was a positive emotion that we wanted to always embrace right from day one, as opposed to just talking about risk mitigation. And to enable businesses to go digital fearlessly, it is very important that the entire development, agile development, operations, and doing it in a secure manner, now called DevSecOps, has to be embraced by businesses as one unit, and then partner with the best in breed, and also build the right team to make it extremely easy to secure it without having the customer go through the pain. Right? So our vision is to enable business to go digital fearlessly, and our mission is to make it extremely easy for them to do so. So the security part of the DevSecOps agenda, I don't have the very nice Mobius script, but basically I will talk about the application security lifecycle, which can be mapped into the Mobius strip that Amol showed earlier. I'll talk about the business. Not everybody is a Netflix or an Amazon, which are the poster child of this area. And there are certain challenges. I mean, Amazon is a $46 billion company, right? And they still spend more than 18 to 20% of their budget. I mean, it's probably more than 20% of their budget on such a big size on R&D for future, right? So they certainly have the big budget to do one deployment 11.7 every 11.7 seconds. And same with Netflix, which is the #1 OTT platform, of course, competing with Amazon Prime as well. But having said that, the fundamentals of those concepts remain the same. And the constraints will be different depending on the size of the business and the nature of the business. And based on those constraints, let's first accept the reality. We are not the Amazon on the Netflix, even though we can aspire to get there. While aspiring to get there, addressing those business challenges by creating an ecosystem of focusing on your core and building the partnership with the right set of partners is going to be very, very important. And then I will break that down into some of the components of the security aspects and tool sets that you should be using to have a proper DevSecOps program in place. So everybody is aware of the software development lifecycle. The application security lifecycle, the security part of the lifecycle also has to fit in there. And the conceptually, what this means is it starts with continuous assessment, continuous protection, continuous updates, and learning from that on an ongoing basis, right? I mean, at the end of the day, with this agile development, every feature release, every deployment, every update that you do will have to make a no-go decision before it gets rolled into production, right? And security has to be a very critical part of their no-go decision. So when you make a feature update and then the security feature fails, then you'll have to either have a choice to go through the cycle again and fix those issues because it's a no-go with those security issues, or look at fixing them through other or mitigating those risks through other aspects and make sure that the no-go decision does not become a barrier in speed. And hence the sec part of the DevOps has to become integrated as one unit. Organizationally, it has to be looked at as not development team, security team, and ops team. It has to be looked at one. DevSecOps is what is going to be the oxygen and breeding ground and innovation. But execution wise, these are separate skill sets. And that is what the business has to understand and weave them into the applications, into the life cycle. Now, the sec part of the DevSecOps, from how we see it, and the basis of which we build our entire stack of products and services around those products, is continuous risk detection, continuous risk protection based on the identified risk, learning from those bases, the Mobius strip or the treadmill that I keep talking about, has to be continuous monitoring and feed that back into future risk detection and future monitoring. And doing all of this, not at the cost or having a trade-off between functionality and speed. It has to be integral, and the website or application acceleration and performance should not be compromised. In fact, AI ML has been a buzzword for a long time, but I believe that the combination of technology is going to be an enabler for better human intelligence. And the DevSecOps tool sets, including the security component, as we viewed into the entire stack, and then break it down into specific use cases. I mean, you take any security initiative, it is going to be broken down into risk detection, risk protection, risk monitoring, and no trade-off with performance. Right? And application security, if you weave that into your application security, and if you secure your application, you are securing your business as well, because any business doesn't have to be a tech company. Central to their business is their applications as well. Now, once you have the tool sets in place, this is where the most challenging aspect and challenges for business comes in. How do I get cross-team integration and automation on a continuous basis, right? Conceptually, this is good, but having the cross-team, so one thing that companies like Amazon and Netflix and even Microsoft did is organizationally, they looked at DevSecOps as one unit, and hence the silos between Dev and Sec and Ops is broken. But the expertise is still going to be specialized. And what is needed is to make sure that across this entire chain of your development and deployment lifecycle, you have the right set of automation, the right set of information flow in place so that you can keep rolling out those releases and agile releases and updates on a continuous basis. This typically is the biggest challenge for many businesses, and especially traditional businesses, to embrace the DevSecOps at a fully mature level. Now, how do you address those? You partner. This is where Amrut and companies like Indusface come in. Will help you get those speed and become an extended arm, because it's not like everybody can do everything on their own. become an external arm for business to enable you to focus on your core and leave the DevOps and the DevSecOps, the security part of the DevOps aspect weaved into your entire application development cycle. Now, all of this comes down to monitoring. And the examples I have given here, because we as a SaaS company build our entire tool sets and everything on the cloud, for the cloud, on AWS. The examples I have given on the monitoring and analytics tools is all AWS example, right? So we ourselves follow this because we use off-the-shelf tools, we use CloudWatch. Every deployment that we do, we have a continuous feed of good and bad traffic. We have a continuous feed of new updates being made. And those updates and things has to be transparently triaged to the right set of team to take action on it immediately. One is alerting and then action on it and analytics based on the action. So on your application stack itself, you should be having a very nice foundation of monitoring and analytics for your application. The security part of it, you can partner with companies like us. The entire maturity level of your DevOps going up to get this nicely integrated for your agile development to actually be put into action and not just on the paper. You can partner with companies like Amrut to do the same. And to make this a continuous journey on the security aspect, the research part of it is very, very important. And this is where companies, even though security is core to their business need, the execution of the security requires specialized research and skills. You'll have to do continuous threat monitoring. You'll have to do continuous vulnerability research, new attacks, new protection techniques, and weave that back into your application development lifecycle. So this is not something that, even if you have the ability and the need established, to build this team requires a specialized skill set and can take the focus away from your core. So a partnership approach for people outside of the Netflix and the Amazon kind of unlimited budget might be the best bang for the buck to still reach that stage without having to have a very nice, very high front-loaded cost that might be needed for doing these kind of investment. Breaking the security process into a process, you have to continuously keep sourcing for new risks that is there in the market, but also keep looking at what is the existing risk on your applications and new features. Analyze them and then do a research on them and do quick updates, develop and update it, right? So this process has to be weaved in as a business objective for any new application rollout that any business is doing nowadays. Comes down to a combination of a nice and very robust technology stack, plus the human expertise, where the human expertise has to come from the business, where you have your skill set and partner with skill set with companies like Amrut and Indusface. And here, one of the key trends that is happening is every technology provider, Gartner has predicted, especially in the DevOps space and the security space, that including the management component of the technology has to be the responsibility of the vendor. And that is going to be a key differentiator for any technology adoption. Because buying a technology and having somebody else manage it, or you yourself learning it and managing it, is going to be a very time-consuming affair. So what Gartner has predicted, especially in the security space, is those vendors who provide not just 24/7 incident management support, but full management around the technology they provide as part of the technology offering is going to be very key for a much more matured and agile development process. And every business can build their own set of stack on top of it. And they can also have independent SIs who manage it, but technology with the expertise to manage it is going to be very, very key. In the technology stack, from a security standpoint, the buzzword is you need to have continuous assessment, DAST, dynamic application security technology scanners. You need to have a web application firewall, which can have the policies, which can help you with the no-go decision, where you might say no-go because you might take time to fix those vulnerabilities in the application. but you can still decide to go with a web application policy that can mitigate those risks. And then have a continuous learning and feed from those bases to the right set of teams to make it a continuous journey, right? So the human expertise, I don't think will ever go away. The bar on what is expected from the human will keep going up. The technology is going to augment them with the right set of alerting. The AI ML tool sets is going to help them be more effective. But the human expertise, I don't think can ever be replaced, at least in the short run. Even though in sci-fi movies, or unless you are Elon Musk, who are at a different level, who talk about it, but I think it's at least a couple of decades away before you can even get to get to what these guys talk about. I think that's it. So I had set it as 30 to 35 minutes for our webinar, and I wanted to spend about 10 minutes to 15 minutes on any Q&A session that we might have on this topic. This is a very broad and a very deep topic to be covered in 40-45 minutes. So what we have given is some framework and some buzzwords and some thought process. Hopefully you find useful. Both me and Amol would be very, very happy to follow it up with a one-to-one discussion specific to your organization and have a deeper conversation. I think that's it from my side. I would be open to a Q&A session and see how many questions we have.
We do have a few questions.
Okay, let me look at.
So some in the chat, some in the Q&A section.
Yeah. So I'm seeing one. What is the right time to embrace DevSecOps? We are considering digital transformation for a while. Haven't been able to have a consensus on where and when to begin. I think Amol,
I'll take that one.
you should answer that. Yeah.
Well, the answer is very simple. It's now. Now is the right time. Because see, the examples that I gave might be really big companies, but transformation really begins when you want to change the way you are working, and the mere thought that you have been considering moving to a different way of working itself mandates moving to a DevSecOps practice. And there are tons of examples. We don't really need to spell out anything here. You have the internet, you have the Google search engines. You will understand how companies have benefited and how it's really been a game changer for their line of business. I do understand there are a lot of internal discussions that happen when it comes to changing to a new philosophy, say DevSecOps. So I believe involving companies like Amrut and Indusface, right from the beginning, right from the planning phase is going to be helpful, because we can really have the conversations that can drive you towards a DevSecOps philosophy from a mandate perspective. So there might be a few things that we can bring to the table based on our experiences, based on things what we do day in and day out, that your management is waiting to hear, and probably they might be missed in whatever research that is done internally in the company. So involving vendors or involving other companies or your partners right from the planning phase really helps, because that is when you can really have a custom tailor-made solution for your particular business line. So again, the answer is you should begin now.
Yeah. Now, actually, you should begin yesterday. You're already late.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Then we have quite a few questions. I mean, we have 10 more minutes, so I will take them. Shiva, somebody has asked a question. Shiva, I think if security is implemented in the CI/CD pipeline, what would be the impact on speed of delivery? All right, I will take that. So the speed of delivery part is certainly a very important trade-off that organization has to make. I mean, as a business, you're always wanting to get out the new feature, the new capabilities out as quickly as possible, but you also wanted to do it in a secure manner, right? And when you have those go, no go decision having to be taken as part of the deployment, and the decision based on your criteria, there is a critical vulnerability. I can do a, let's say it's an e-commerce site and I'm launching a new service and I can do payment manipulation based on which I can do fraud. Typically, the development and the product manager are going to say, don't, it's a no-go unless you fix this, right? And the speed depends on your ability to fix those issues quickly. number one. But we also help you get those speed. This is where Indusface comes in, where through we give you visibility to get those decisions done from a security standpoint with the tool sets. We also give you the ability to protect them. Any critical or high application level vulnerabilities, if it is existing in the product, if you test them through a web application gateway or a web application firewall, we also can give you the option to fix them through a virtual patch in the web application firewall level as well. And we have a 24-hour turnaround time back with SLA for doing that. The right place to fix it is in the application, but it can be a very good speed and time to deployment based on, yes, I accept and acknowledge that this issue exists in the application, but I'm going to roll it out with this policy at my firewall application firewall level and don't have to compromise on speed. And by the way, it is not just time to fix. This fix in the web application firewall level, besides just the time to fix, it also gives you an insight. If that policy gets hit, it becomes a foundation of tracking a bad attack behavior as well in the future, which can help you in this continuous process. So very good question, for sure. One more from somebody called Rohit. Can we do DevOps for ERPs like Oracle and SAP, which are hosted on-prem? If we can do, will the solution still be in on-premise or will be hybrid with the cloud?
I'll take that one.
Okay.
Yes, the answer is yes. And there are, it again requires a broader discussion of what you exactly plan to do with it and what these particular tools are doing in your environment. When it comes to the solution, it can be on-prem, it can be hybrid as well. So it really depends on what kind of compliances are required in your particular line of business, or what is your comfortable, how comfortable you are with going on a hybrid model or keeping things on-prem. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But I think I will just add on to it. I mean, from a security standpoint as well, like, I mean, one of our philosophy within my company is cloud first. I mean, in fact, I would say SaaS first, cloud next, and on-premise is my last option. Right? I run many tools, like a CRM tool is on SaaS. Right? I run other tools, Ansible and other as part of our own development cycles. We use Git for source code, all SaaS, right? So even though you might have legacies or legacy on-prem deployment, focus on the service value as opposed to where that service is placed, right? And as long as you can get the service value and the trust from the vendor who is providing you the service value and all the other data protection, other things that you might have specific to regulations, then where it is served from really doesn't matter, independent of where you are deployed today. That would be my added 2 cents gyan on this.
So the next one's definitely for you, Venki. It's from Nilesh. And the question is, can security be completely outsourced? Can it be viewed as core need? Very interesting question.
Yeah, right. So security is a core need. So let's be very clear. Any business today are viewing security has become a boardroom discussion. But a core need doesn't mean core expertise, right? You can have core needs for your business, but your core expertise is on building something else. What is your core IP, right? So a core IP can be building this document management system, or can be a healthcare benefit administration system. Your business need for you to succeed on that core IP will certainly have security as part of your business need. So we have to separate the core need from the core expertise, right? If you have the core expertise, it still might make sense to partner with others. I mean, today it is an extended enterprise. Just because you partner with somebody else doesn't mean that you can still have, as a business responsibility, you can still get the best expertise, the best tools to get the best business outcome. So security is a core need, and outsourcing or getting that capability with the best in the world might automatically become a core business need as well. And hence, I have already laid down that application security requires a very, very special set of skill set. And doing it on a sustainable basis for a business whose core functionality is not developing security products, it might make sense to augment their business with those expertise. Yeah, I think we can take a couple of more. It's 11:42.
There are a couple in the chat section, Venki, if you want to glance there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at chat as well. The security part of the CIO, I looked at this. It can be viewed. Q&A, there's a few in the Q&A as well.
Yeah.
Chat, I'm not, are you able to see a few? DevSecOps start from planning stage or the dev stage? I mean, the sec part has to start from dev stage. I mean, I would say even at the design stage. I mean, when you're designing a service, I'm privilege escalation, role-based access control. These are all going to be part of the design choices when you're designing a service. So what are the controls you put in place? Security is going to be a key aspect even at a design stage. It has to be a part of the dev stage. It has to be part on a continuous basis on the production stage as well. Right? We come in the place as soon as you are in the dev stage, where our tool sets can help you get continuous assessment of your applications from development stages all the way into production. You want to add on the DevSecOps, the DevOps part, Amol?
Yes. So there's another question. Is the security part of DevSecOps offering, can it be cloud neutral, independent where our application dev and hosting happen? Yes, definitely. It can be.
Yeah.
The philosophy remains the same. These are just mediums where you are hosting it. Of course, every medium will have its own security offerings in place. Even on the cloud front, AWS, GCP, Azure, they will have their own securities available. But yes, it's cloud agnostic.
It is cloud. And one more thing is, I mean, your cloud provider will probably not take the responsibility. Every cloud provider talks about shared responsibility model. Right? So the network security, the infrastructure security will be provided by the security of that will be provided by the hosting service or the cloud provider. Anything that any payload that you put in there, any service that you enable in there, the responsibility of that, including security, is the responsibility of the business, and hence the application security automatically becomes the business responsibility. And the application is open to the world. I cannot think of an application which is standalone that runs on your desktop today in today's day and age. It is anyway open to the world over the internet, independent of where you're hosted. And hence the security layer that you add on top of the application can also be from the cloud, and it can be by design and based on where it is better to keep it cloud neutral.
I see one more that's particularly for Amrut. So what are the partnerships that currently Amrut has when it comes to the sec part? So Indusface, definitely. And we do have Microsoft on the other side, but that's on a different scale, and Microsoft brings its own offerings and own security products. So these are the two that we are looking at right now.
Excellent. I think bang on time, 11:45. I'm glad that we were able to get the Q&A answered as well, at least most of them. Whatever is missed, we will certainly reach back to you. As I said, this is a very broad and deep topic. It requires a deeper discussion, one-on-one specific in the context of your business. We'll be more than happy to, both me and Amol will be more than happy to do that. Any closing thoughts from you, Amol?
No, I really liked the session that you presented, quite insightful. And I'm glad we could end it on time, because a lengthy webinar is the last thing that anybody needs in these times. So thank you so much for doing this together. And we'll definitely reach out to everyone again with the recordings as well. And in case we've missed something, definitely reach out to us. And we would love to have one-on-one conversations about how we can help.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.